The first thing I noticed about Grant was the way the room shifted when he entered. Not in a loud or showy way, but with that quiet confidence some men wear like tailored suits. The kind that says they've stopped trying to impress, because they no longer need to. I caught his gaze the moment I stepped into the bar. That look lingered, long enough to ignite a spark I hadn't felt in a long time. I hadn't meant to drink alone. It just happened. One of those nights when silence wraps a little too tight and the idea of company, even that of strangers, feels comforting. I barely touched my second glass before his voice brushed against my ear. "You drinking alone tonight?" he asked. Smooth. Calm. His voice had a weight to it, like velvet laced with iron. I turned and there he was, salt and pepper hair, tailored shirt, piercing eyes that made the air feel heavier. He didn't wait for permission. He was already next to me. "Not anymore," I said, my lips curving despite myself. Grant smiled slowly, like I just answered a question right without knowing it had been asked. "Shame," he murmured, eyes flicking to my empty glass. "I was about to buy your next." "You still can," I shrugged, trying not to show how fast my pulse had jumped. "No small talk?" he asked. "Not tonight. Your place." That was it. No games. Just two people who knew exactly what they wanted. The air between us cracked with energy as we left the bar. The moment the door clicked shut behind us, it began, hands that didn't ask, just knew, kisses that stole air from my lungs, touches that made time bend and stall. I'd barely stepped out of my heels before the world melted into heat, pressure, movement. By the time I collapsed against him, heart hammering and skin flushed, I was already dreading morning. I didn't want this to be over. But when I opened my eyes to golden sunlight and the scent of coffee, I realized he hadn't disappeared like a ghost. Grant stood in the kitchen, shirtless, pouring 2 mugs like this was something he did every morning. "You were going to sneak out," he said without looking. "I didn't think you were the coffee after kind," I teased. He turned, eyes amused. "I'm full of surprises." He slid a mug across the counter. I took it. Our fingers brushed, and the spark flared again. "I've got friends coming by tonight," he said casually. "Just cards and drinks. You're welcome to stay." "Just cards?" I asked, one brow arched. Grant's grin said more than words ever could. "Could be more. Depends on the mood. Are they anything like you?" "Stay and find out." The idea shouldn't have thrilled me. But it did. Maybe it was the way he said it, or the way I could still feel his hands on my skin, even now. "I guess I'm staying." By late afternoon, anticipation buzzed beneath my skin. I'd been in his t-shirt most of the day, lounging on the couch while he prepared for the evening. I tried to focus on anything but the thought of who might walk through that door. When voices echoed down the hallway, something in me shifted. I slipped away and into the bathroom, letting steam rise around me as the water ran hot and fast. I pressed my palms to the tile, eyes closed, trying to steady my breath. I wasn't nervous. I was intrigued. Wrapped in his robe, still damp from the shower, I stepped out. They were already there. 5 men, different builds, ages, but all with the same intensity in their eyes. Grant stood in the middle, calm and collected. He looked at me like I was exactly where I belonged. I walked slowly to the couch and sat beside him. His hand found my thigh, possessive and warm. "This is Cassidy," he said softly to the others. "She's staying." No one spoke. But the air was thick, every glance loaded. One of them, tall, with arms like sculpted stone, walked forward and extended a hand. "Logan." I took it. Firm grip. Steady gaze. Another followed Ethan, with ocean blue eyes and a knowing smirk. Then Julian. Then Cole. And finally, Mason, quiet, watching me like a mystery he already halfway understood. Drinks flowed. Cards were played. But the tension never left the room. Every brush of skin, every shared glance crackled with unspoken possibility. At one point, Grant leaned in and murmured, "Still comfortable?" I looked around the room and nodded. "Very." He smiled and kissed the corner of my jaw, a slow, heated promise. The rest of the night unfolded like smoke, slow, swirling, impossible to hold but unforgettable all the same. Every man brought something different. A way of looking. A way of touching. A way of making me feel like the center of gravity in that room. It wasn't chaos. It was rhythm. A slow-burning dance of glances, gestures, permission without words. Grant never let me feel alone, not even for a second. He was always near, watching, guiding, anchoring. And when the night blurred into the earliest hours of morning, I wasn't tired. I was lit from the inside, glowing with something more than lust, something that felt dangerously close to awakening.